Hi and welcome back to Cheeky Crypto, and today guys we are taking another cheeky look at Cardano. Specifically, how far is the ADA token away from that $1 moment? We're going to try to answer that question. We have an article here that's been posted just 3 hours ago as a point of recording this video, and we're going to go through what they're talking about and then have a look at our own chart and see if we can see similarities. We're going to have a look at the Cardano to USD chart on the daily, the 4-hourly and the 1-hourly view, and try to give you a bit of insight as to what is going on here and what might happen in that short term as well. So if you do find this video useful, informative, go ahead and smash that like button for Chris. He really does appreciate it, and as do I. And if by chance you're still not subscribed to the channel, do go ahead and subscribe. By subscribing, you'll be kept up to date with all of the videos and live streams that we do here at Cheeky Crypto. And of course, Chris, this being a Cardano video, it wouldn't be a Cardano video if we do not mention about our delegation pool.
Yeah, so you can delegate your ADA to our pool, the Cheeky Crypto Cardano staking pool, with the ticker CHEEK. You can do this through the Deadliest wallet, the Euro wallet, and the Atomic wallet. The juicy rewards.
Juicy rewards as they are, yeah, absolutely. So as Chris often says on this channel, if you're not delegating, then you're not doing it right, and you've got to make your money work for you. So if you're not already delegated, do check out the Cheeky Crypto delegation pool. Very, very straightforward, very safe to do so. And if you are already delegating, that's fantastic. And if you'd like to fancy a change, we'd love to have you over at the Cheeky Crypto pool as well. So yeah, do check it out. Right, with all that said, Chris, let's jump on over to the desktop and take a look at what's going on here.
Yeah, it's doing really well at the minute, Nick. Let's get straight into it.
Fantastic. So how far is $1? How far is $1 at the moment, right? So Cardano is currently, witnessing its largest weekly positive returns since the project's inception. So rallying close to 97%. It is at quite a high price at 70 cents. Now it has pulled back since then. I think we're about 61 cents or so, 61.7 or something like that. So yeah, it has pulled back slightly since that high of 70 cents a day. Currently priced 67 at the point of this article being written. The asset continues to move upwards, and I think we're going to see a lot more of that. So while the crypto landscape has dramatically changed since 2017, Cardano looking at potential long-term stay at the top 10 rankings, and I believe it is. 𝗖𝗢𝗠𝗘𝗥𝗦 has announced major Cardano updates. While the price has rallied strongly over the past week, the input-output or 𝗖𝗢𝗠𝗘 team recently announced that their current update, 𝗕𝗘𝗪𝗧, or the Mary hard fork, would allow Cardano users to create and utilize their own custom tokens for transactions on the network. The tokens will exist on the ADA mechanism, hence users can use them like native tokens as well. And such multiple asset blockchains are rare in the cryptocurrency world, as most platforms such as Ethereum would use smart contracts and sidechains to establish these platforms with native assets. By the end of 2021, 𝗖𝗢𝗠𝗘 is also aiming to release another update called 𝗕𝗓𝗓. Okay, so fantastic stuff happening with updates regarding Cardano. It's definitely one of the reasons that we started seeing the pumps in price, specifically around moving towards the full 𝗕𝗘𝗪 launch. And obviously Mary and the hard fork is just one of 3 things that have to happen really for 𝗕𝗘𝗪. So we're really ramping that up. So does ADA have an advantage over other similar platforms? There are consistent improvements in the crypto space over the past 3 years, but second generation projects such as Ethereum and Polkadot remain Cardano's major challenges. So while Ethereum and Bitcoin might be able to scale in the future via third-party solutions, however, I guess the use of parachains may possibly make them both native networks unreliable and introduce multiple points of failure. And this is something that we talk about a lot, Chris, isn't it? Because ultimately, Ethereum, it's almost like a death by 1,000 cuts. You can keep putting plasters on there, but eventually you're going to bleed out. And I think Ethereum, with some of the issues that it has with gas fees, etc., we're starting to see a lot of projects get really frustrated and want to leave. We've seen that with 𝗕𝗘𝗪𝗔𝗥𝗘. They've left. We have Celsius talking about leaving and joining Cardano. We obviously have platforms that were planning to launch on Ethereum, but actually decided against it because it just doesn't make the right kind of business acumen sense to actually, go ahead and do it. So Ethereum has some major issues, and Bitcoin, well, but Bitcoin is now just really a store of value. If we think about it costing basically $60 to send $20, it's not really fit for purpose, or at least for what it was designed to do in the first place. So these first generations and second generation blockchains are great, and they do their job right now. But ultimately, it's the future of the space relies on people like Charles Hoskinson and the Cardano platform, where they've built it from the ground up in a modular way that is going to outlast the others. So it's really hard to see a future where Ethereum is going to remain in the second spot. I think we're going to see a time, Chris, where Cardano will be a serious contender to both Ethereum and Bitcoin in the top three positions. So you have to really watch that. And they're definitely right about introducing multiple points of failure. Even when we think about Ethereum 2.0 and the bugs that were found in that already, it's a recipe for disaster almost. So with such projects carrying further governance at different levels, the chances of disagreements increases, leading to possible implosion. And with Cardano, it has been designed to scale and attain interoperability within one primary mechanism. Okay, so or main chain, I should say. So while many did not pay attention earlier, the updates are pushing into a specific timeline now and becoming consistent for Cardano. So is $1 a near future possibility? The possibility is there, and it might take a while. It may see a few retraces, but the $1 mark is still a 41% surge away from its current price point. A period of correction should be expected in the charts, and we're going to go through that right now, Chris, unless there's something you want to talk about specifically on this particular piece.
Just we've covered it in our previous video, Nick, around Africa and the stuff going on there. So there's lots of stuff going on in the background that is going to get it there, right? And I think we're only getting started is my view on things, Nick.
Absolutely. So let's take a look at the chart, right? So this is kind of going to help you understand exactly what's going on here. So we've seen Cardano do some fantastic things all the way from over here to this top end. And if you were fortunate enough to get in, at these earlier stages when the Cardano price was, really low in terms of like 9 cents, but even if you were really fortunate, Chris, and you were able to get in down here in the March crash, for example, right down here, and it's really hard to see it when it's like this, right? Because ultimately that's like a little dot on this map from where we are today to where we were. This actually brought it down to 2 pennies, okay, 2 cents per ADA token if you were fortunate enough to be getting into the project in early March, right? And we are, we've seen highs of 70 cents today. So Cardano has done amazing things most recently, and we are fast approaching, some fantastic levels that we've seen or not seen for quite some time. So things are really starting to heat up nicely for Cardano and the ADA token. So let's take a little bit more of a specific look on what's going on here. Specifically, let's have a look at this daily chart. So here we can see we had that high point up at 70 cents. We can obviously see that we had this low point on the Fibonacci retracement on the 1st of February. That was a low of 33.5. Okay, that was down here. And in this particular motion to the upside, we can see the various different volumes all down here. Now, most recently, within today, we see this huge negative volume, and it is significantly higher than the positive volumes that we were having on days previously. Now, this is just selling pressure that occurred at this top end up here. Actually, when we drill down a little bit lower, it's less of a concern. The MACD is obviously in a positive situation, but is only really responding to the RSI, which has also gone to a point of overbought. Okay, so lots of ADA has been sold, and it is very much overbought on this daily chart. But let's pull this down, Chris, into our 4-hourly view. This will show us a little bit more of the granular detail of what's actually occurred here. So here we can see that actually there was a 1 4-hour block, okay, which actually will narrow down to a specific hour where there basically was selling pressure happening. Okay, and we can see that from our volumes, and we can see it from our candles. Okay, so we have this one candle here that pulled the price down from that 70 cent range down towards this area here, which I think was around 59-60 cents, something like that. And since then we've actually rallied back up, but we are trading sideways at this point in here. It looks we're unable to get above the key level of the 786 Fibonacci retracement zone. So up here is where we want to be, but we're struggling to stay up there now. Okay, so it was acting as support, this area here. This was the 786, and now it's acting as resistance. So we're going to watch that and see how that plays out. Now the volumes, you can see they're actually increasing every 4 hours, right? Even in the red volume, the selling volume, it's an increase on the previous. So at the moment, it's an interesting thing. We ideally need to see this kind of cool off a little bit. To do so we can trade sideways. If it continues to go up and we have selling pressure here, we're going to drop the price pretty fast. So we need to see that volume get corrected a little bit. So that's a little bit of a concern on this 4-hour chart. MACD is still positive, and obviously we were very much overbought on this 4-hour chart, but we have just come down below the 70 level at about 65 on the RSI. So that's an okay position to be in. Not ideal, but it's an okay position. Okay, so let's pull this down into an hour view. This is as low as I like to go, and it shows us a bit more of what's gone on. Here we can see the volume to start with, how that's kind of been rolling with the punches, if you will. And we've kind of seen it going a little bit sideways and flat up here most recently. If we can start to get this declining back down to a more sensible level, we could trade sideways across here, and then it'll allow us to move it ahead much faster. So we can see obviously that we were acting as support. This Fibonacci 786 Fibonacci level was support for us, and we obviously found that upper limit where the selling pressure kicked in, and now this level here is actually acting as a bit of resistance. So we need to push back through it and get a close and come back up here. Coming back up here, it might take a little bit of time. It might not take any time at all. Really what has to show here is going to be the volume. The volume can drop down. That will allow us to go a little bit sideways for a few hours. The RSI is already in a fantastic position to move this thing to the upside, but the volume is going to be the problem. Now we're either going to have to increase this volume or continue to go flat level, okay, to get the next price spike, okay, because the RSI is in a really good position. It's most likely going to move to this upside, okay, somewhere probably between 60 and 70. But if the volumes do not increase, then that's going to be a limited price discovery, okay? So the idea here really is for the volume to drop down. With the volume dropping down, that will allow the RSI to potentially drop down a little bit lower, get corrected down here. And once the volume's nice and low, we can then actually swing this from the bottom of our RSI right to the top end, and that will give us the maximum amount of swing on the price and the candles as well. So volume is a bit too high, RSI is a bit too low. MACD is less of relevant because it kind of just follows whatever the RSI does. So RSI is king here. And yeah, the price at the minute might just be kind of bouncing between two levels. It might be bouncing here on the 618 Fibonacci level. That comes in at 56 cents. And our 786 level of 62 cents. We're probably going to bounce along here until we get these, the volumes corrected, the RSI corrected, because they're kind of counterintuitive at the minute. Ultimately, the volume is so high, yet the RSI is quite low. In order to get the maximum swing out of this thing, we need volumes to drop down, the RSI to stay relatively in the 40 to 30 zone, and then the volumes to kick back up again, and that will allow us to continue the moving upwards. So things on the Cardano chart are less than ideal, but we've seen worse charts perform better. So there's still plenty of opportunity in this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just pull this back up to our daily view, give a bit of a general summary here. So ultimately, we know we are no longer overbought. Instead, we're around here, just under that 50 level on this RSI, around 45. Okay, so our daily is showing us high. That's not necessarily true. We're actually down here. The volumes are, they're high. They're just as high as this, and they're kind of flattening out on the hourly. So we'll have to see if we can get a lower volume, a lower RSI. MACD I'm not so concerned with, and what we want to do is actually just get a little bit of sideways trading here, maybe for a day or two, in a similar way that we saw this movement here, right, a couple of days where it just kind of cools off, gets the RSI corrected, gets the volumes corrected, and then it allows us to have the next kind of motion to the upside. So we could be here for a couple of days, we could be here for only a matter of hours. It all depends on what's going to happen with that volume. If we're going to continue the swing of volume to the upside and the volume becomes very, very bullish and continues to increase every hour, then the RSI is in a good position to move us to the upside. I don't think, however, the volume is going to be sustainable at that height. I think we're going to have that reducing down. Reducing that down will correct our RSI, and hopefully that will also allow us to trade sideways here, most likely between these two areas on the Fibonacci. That's the 56 and the 62 cent area, and bouncing here might just get us to the right area. So we might just be able to just do one singular bounce on that 56 cent and then shoot us on out of that 70 cent area. That might just be enough to correct our RSI and our volume. Otherwise, we might have to do a bit of a trade sideways here, and then shoot on out. One thing I'm pretty confident with is that we're going to be going up much higher than 70 cent during February. It wouldn't be too surprised if we see $1 in February, Chris. I think we could definitely have the opportunity to do that. So everything to play for really on this chart. And if we pull this down, we can see that our first price target here is actually 92.7 cent anyway. So it could just be that we actually touch that 56 cent area just very briefly, and then shoot on up to hit our first price target here, getting us that $1 level kind of real soon. I think I'm pretty confident, Chris, in thinking that $1 in February is definitely achievable. What's your thoughts?
Yeah, completely aligned to that. But I think there's probably like one question outstanding, and is, what are the prices that if people are looking for a retrace, to get in at?
Yeah, at the moment, I'm looking and I'm thinking it's most likely not going to pull any lower than 56 cent, and there's no guarantee it'll even go down there. Like ultimately, there's three key areas on every Fibonacci retracement that it's going to pull down to, and that is these three middle ones just here, right? So the 382 Fibonacci level, the 0.5 Fibonacci, and the 0.618 Fibonacci. Okay, so those are the three areas. Now they represent 47.5 cent, 51.8 cent, and 56.1 cent. Okay, but there's no guarantee that it'll even hit any of those, and there's no guarantee that it will hit just one of them. It could hit two, it could hit all three of them. It all depends on what the sentiment of the market is at the time. So with the RSI being as low as it is at the minute, it's very unlikely that it's going to drop all that much, okay, because it's already very low on that RSI. It will struggle to drop much lower is what I mean, okay?
Yeah.
So the volumes dropping down is what you want to see. If the volumes don't drop down, you're going to struggle to correct your RSI, okay? But if the volumes stay up quite high and it becomes selling pressure, then you could expect to hit at least 56, potentially 51 cent. And if it becomes like a mass sell-off event for whatever reason, then expect the 47.5. I, at the moment, would say, I think the worst case scenario, looking at the data, would be 56 cent at this point, but that may change as the RSI adapts to the volumes. Okay, so however the volumes tend to play out will change our RSI, and the RSI is going to be king as to whether or not we're going to be moving up or down. Okay, so at the moment, it looks like we could potentially be moving back up from our current position. And, it doesn't look like we're going to come down to that 56. But if that volume doesn't start to correct itself, then it could crash down very hard if loads of people decide to sell. So yeah, I'm looking out for that first level of 56 cent. We haven't come near it yet. So I'm confident that we won't go near it at all. But we'll have to just see how the next few hours play out, Chris.
Super, sounds great, Nick.
Fantastic. So guys, if you have found this video useful, informative, do go ahead and smash that like button for Chris. He really appreciates it. I really appreciate it. And I like to think that you all appreciate it too. And if by chance you're still not subscribed to the channel, do go ahead and subscribe. By subscribing, you will be kept up to date with all the videos and live streams that we do here at Cheeky Crypto. And with all this said and done, we hope you have a fantastic day, guys, and we'll catch you all in the next one.
Take care.